So still, the most beautiful, balmy evening here in the Kingdom of Bahrain. This is an event that continues its gradual but very definitive evolution. This in its 7th year, the $1 million Bahrain International Trophy, the jewel in this kingdom's horse racing crown. And they are all here to see something special. Under lights here in the Kingdom of Bahrain as we build towards a terrific edition of this race. Just 8 runners, but 8 quality runners from across the racing world. Can Great Britain make it 3 in a row in this race? Spirit Dancer mesmerising the last 2 years. Megan Nichols alongside me, Nick Luck paddock side. We've been enjoying wonderful racing all evening, Megan, but this is what really matters. This is why I think the biggest crowd in the race's history is still pouring into the racetrack here. Yeah, absolutely. We promised we would light it up later on, and not only literally under the floodlights, but also with world-class talent. Equine, jockeys. It's pretty phenomenal, this build-up now. Yeah, I mentioned that Spirited Dancer won the race the last 2 years. What do you make of this year's race as a whole? Obviously, it's a smaller field, but I think it's very competitive. I wouldn't be surprised to see them fairly bunched up at the line. And tactically, well, it's fascinating. But we saw there in the replay Spirit Dancer winning with them burst through that turn of foot. As we've said all evening, 3 or 4 off the rail. That's what Ashinor did last year, and I think that's where the winner's going to come from this time around as well. Megan and I will be doing our very best to point you in the right direction. We've got a wonderful team around the grounds here as well, as we say good afternoon to Nick Lightfoot alongside Ali Vance.
Thank you very much, Nick. And doesn't the track look absolutely magnificent now we're down here? The 2nd year running under these fabulous floodlights. And Nick, you know, Arabian racing here started decades ago. They came to this track in the early 1980s, but really racing in Bahrain has risen to new prominence in recent years.
Absolutely. Since 2019, since this race was first run, through the different winners, most recently, of course, Spirit Dancer, it's been, I think, the rise and rise of the Bahrain International Trophy. Nowadays, it's you never know, it won't be too far off top spot at some point. And yes, today's race is not long on numbers, but it is very, very stacked full of quality animals. And before the first running of the Bahrain International Trophy in 2019, they had no internationally recognised races, so no listed or group races. They've now got 7 here throughout the season. The International Trophy is the obvious showpiece and an opportunity for Bahrain to really show themselves off to the racing, the global racing audience.
100 metres to go. Rustang still has the lead, but he's running out as real estate. But on the outside, Royal Julius for France.
Timsea's flat out in front. He's Global Giant, Franchidatore, suffering between the pair. Timsea held on.
Spirit Dancers hit the front and kicks on by a couple of lengths to Isra. It's a
Welcome to the commentary booth here at the racecourse. A beautiful view over this ever-changing landscape, and I was lucky enough to be here for the inaugural year, and I've been here for most of the races, and this is definitely the strongest lineup that I can remember. And let's take a look at the track that they're going to be racing at, and it's on the turn. You'll see the grandstand there in the background. The start will be on the right of the shot there. We're racing on the outer track, the stalls under the tree line. They go around about 300 meters, and then it's into a sweeping turn. Takes them down the back straight. There's then a long run. It's just under 3 furlongs, just under 600 meters, before they then take a very long turn back towards home. Then it's slightly uphill for the final 600 meters off that final turn, and back here towards the enclosures, and hopefully glory in the running of the Bahrain International Trophy. Let's go back down to join Nick now in the paddock, because he's been joined by two gentlemen who know everything about winning this particular race.
Well, we will join Nick very shortly because we've got a real treat for you. But first, I'm joined by His Excellency Mohammed Al Shehi, and His Excellency took over the role as chair of the Gulf Horse Racing Council in February of this year. And that really is to try and bring all the racing nations in this part of the world together from a logistical point of view, from a welfare point of view. And Your Excellency, I'd love to ask you how that's going and how you're progressing as we embark on hopefully a terrific season here in the Gulf.
Thank you first for having me on your program on this beautiful day of racing. Actually, yesterday we had our 4th meeting of the council. We're working towards coordinating and aligning all the efforts from all racing authorities around the Gulf in order to create a better product and ease the movement of horses in between countries and maintain the health status of all countries as well, and to have an aligned race program as well, and to standardize most of the rules of racing across all the countries. So there's plenty to be done, and as you know, Nick, the Gulf is one of the very few areas in the world where racing is growing in all its factors. You know, the number of trainers, number of owners, number of horses that are participating, number of international horses that comes and today race, whether it's in Bahrain or Qatar or Saudi or UAE. So all of that contribute into creating a very nice racing product for the GCC.
And do you feel that we could reach a point where we have a season where the same horses at the elite level move between those countries more readily? So they would contest a night like this, for example, in Bahrain, and then maybe move to Doha and Saudi and Dubai?
That's the aim, basically, where we have the elite of horses coming here. They're based in one of the countries, and then they go and participate in the big festivals around the GCC. And that, you know, that's something that we have witnessed in the past few years, where horses comes to Dubai, participate in the racing carnival, and then from there they go to the Saudi Cup or to Qatar or to Bahrain. And we want to make that easier, and we need to coordinate the efforts around that. And the easier we make it, the more beneficial that would be to the owners, trainers, and people targeting the racing season in the Gulf.
And clearly one of the key aspirations as far as today's race is concerned is to get the Bahrain International Trophy upgraded to international Group 1 standard, to the very elite global level. How much would that mean to everybody in the GHC?
I think that would mean so much to us. We have Group 1s in UAE, we have a few Group 1s now in Saudi, and hopefully we'll have one in Bahrain. And I think His Highness Sheikh Isa and his team worked really hard towards having the elite horses, and this just started a few years ago, coming here to participate in this beautiful racetrack to achieve today the Group 2 level, and hopefully after tonight, next year we'd have the Group 1 in Bahrain, hopefully.
Your Excellency, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Well, we look forward to monitoring the progress of the GHC. Building here then in Bahrain to the Bahrain International Trophy. Now, John and Thady Gosden, co-trainers in Newmarket.
To be that today, and honestly he ran very well because he was dueling with Counter Move, and I know that one was off a layoff, but Counter Move just faded and stopped, whereas Guilty really dug in. But I mean, it was a huge difference mentally and physically, first to second start, the way that he'd progressed.
And he may win today,
yeah,
but I couldn't take $9 on him in those situations. I know some people like the 7. I'm not one of them. I thought that was a big inside speed track. He was down inside before he angled it and stretch. I didn't like the race he ran in.
No, it was a bad field.
In general, horses, I know that Tiote came back and ran better, but his effort may have been a bit of an aberration. The winner's never done any running since that race. So talk about why you took Kaz Oil Changer.
Well, he's not a turf horse. I wrote down last time, does not look turf, even though he's a little bit more angular. So the failed experiment. And he's going back to the dirt, which I think is huge. I actually thought he ran pretty well behind some nice horses. I mean, he ran second, I know by a lot, but he did run second to Iron Dome a few starts back.
First start, he ran well.
First start, he ran very well behind Toga Dan. And I think debuting him at a mile and an eighth, and I know that he's pretty leggy, but I never thought he wanted to go that far either. So back to the dirt, going a bit shorter, but primarily the surface switch I thought was key for him.
I also thought he figures to get a little bit of pace in here and maybe to run at, and I want him as an alternative because I have no argument against a bunch of these horses that can win. I just couldn't bring myself to pull the trigger on them. Race number 4. So
this salty bunch.
Yeah, I didn't bring back the replays. Gypsy Art, the 5, is the worst to beat, and this is the one, and people wondering, he had to be scratched out of the stake the other day because he was entered in this race.
Yeah.
I think Wesley would have rather run the stake. It was probably an easier spot than this. It
I
certainly
think
wasn't
it
much
was.
harder than this race. And this horse did run extremely well. He was part of a pace that fell apart, where Cy-Fair, the eventual Breeders' Cup Sprint winner, eventually Jake Bayless will be able to figure out why his speed figure was lower than the horse that ran the same time. Oh, it's a big to do about what the speed figure should have been. It's a big discussion of them, and I really like Jake and Reagan, and they just want, I don't know why they want the figure to be higher. What do they care? They got the money.
I don't know.
Is it like an ego thing? You want the horses to get a bigger figure?
She did run exceptionally well.
She did. She's very good.
Yeah,
I mean,
she
she's
is.
good, and she's probably going to run some big races next year.
Yeah.
I think this horse to beat. I decide not to try to beat this horse.
Yeah, I thought between her and, him and Chasing Freedom, I thought those were horses that had run exceptionally well, but Gypsy Art had only ever run in stakes before and is now in a maiden. So coming in here in the middle of a group of 3 on the pace after not breaking that sharply. He's kind of the atypical Wesley Ward in that he's not that quick out of the gate. So John Velasquez climbing aboard today. I thought he was an incredibly logical horse. I thought Chasing Freedom ran really well.
Take a look at his first race. Go ahead.
From an outside post, it was amazing how much gate speed he had to be able to clear to get right over to get to the lead. Now, maybe it's a case that he was geared up to win first time out, and he showed that speed, running really well for Rob Atras, but coming back with some experience, showed speed, just got nabbed. I thought he looked like he had some ability.
I agree. I thought he ran very, very well in there. I have no argument against this horse. He should have won last time. Maybe it was last time. I'll tell you something. You want to see a great ride by a rider? Take a look at the ride that Manny Franco gave in the 5th race yesterday with that horse, the 12 horse. I know a couple scratches like he got it.
horse, right? The 2-year-old?
The 12, yeah, was it TT?
Yes, yes.
He got that horse right to the fence on the first turn, and
she'd had some bad trips, and
she got a terrible trip in her last race.
Trip,
he hadn't ridden her. I think Flavia had rode her last time. I'm not sure, but boy, he gave that horse a good ride. Manny has been riding extremely well. I also think the Chad Brown horse, Ava Reddy, is dangerous in here. This horse ran last time, and it's another one of these cutbacks. We can show her last race, Eddie. Chad Brown seems to do okay cutting these horses back in maiden turf sprints. I'm not against this horse either. I think the 2 and 8 are both dangerous.
Yeah. Actually dug in, I thought, really gamely when being passed to finish 3rd that day and when going a mile. So debuted at Kentucky Downs, not an easy thing to do. Last time out, then going longer, so it's cutting back. The second dam actually was a good turf in the synthetic sprinter. So there is actually a sprint pedigree on the bottom side.
Yeah, I think this horse is dangerous. The horse that we haven't mentioned that's going to get bet is Blazing Tiger, your husband's horse, and I've heard this horse is fast.
See, the whole backside's been talking about this horse. He has been very impressive working. He has actually a really strong Australian turf sprint pedigree. And there's plenty of speed, plenty of quality in there. He's been very professional. Wondering if maybe he'll want a little bit more ground in the future. Starting point for him, but he's ready to run, and we'll see.
All right, see what happens in race number 4. Kicks off the pick 6. I'm still trying to figure out how 6 people had yesterday's pick 6, but that's another discussion. It was very strange. Race number 5 is the Notebook, and this came up a fun New York bred stake. We'll take a look starting with another horse from your husband, Miguel, Caroline Street Beat. I'm not trying to beat this horse. I thought this horse ran extremely well first time. I do respect Tim and Sam, who finished behind him and came back to win the next start. But I'm not trying to beat this horse. Is there a reason, though, that Caroline Street Beat has not run in 3 months?
He was a bit immature. He had some physical immaturities. Thought it was a good time. He won first time out with that name. You have to try to win and point him to Saratoga and win first time out. But Miguel always thought he'd be a little bit of a later developing 2-year-old overall. So I think his class kind of prevailed with him winning. So decided to just give him a little bit of time and be patient with him, bringing him back. He has been able to train up in Saratoga and work on the turf, gallop on the infield turf before coming back to Belmont for his last couple works. So he's definitely fit.
You got a big pedigree, of course.
Yeah.
My Heart Belongs to Daddy, the horse with absolutely no speed that the rider's allowed to wire 3 races, even though there were 4 faster horses in the races. I agree. I think this horse is good. I'm not trying to beat this horse. Let's take a look at Spirit of New York stretching out down the inside.
There's a lot of horses stretching out in here.
Yeah, and listen, I just wonder, is an Honest Mischief a horse that you really want stretching out? But this horse is pretty good.
Excuse me, lost my voice. Honest Mischief is 0 for 15 with turf routers and is 14% with turf sprinters.
Yeah, he just feels, he was a sprinter. It just feels like a horse that I'm not really confident. I want his horses stretching out. Does draw well on the inside, has Ricardo. There's a lot of things to like. I stayed away from the stretch outs, though. I wanted horses in here that had run the distance.
I did give, because I think that Spirit of New York and Lawyer Mason are good, and so that's why I included them in there.
I think Lawyer Mason's good, too.
I did prefer horses that had some distance experience.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Lawyer Mason is a good horse, and Tom won the Philly race of this stretching out the other day. Jaxer, the horse that you have on top, we'll take a look at him winning. His last race was pretty good, and I think Coach Ryan's okay.
Yeah, I think so too. I thought his first start with blinkers, he was much more forward too. And I know he kind of had to be from the outside post, and Flavian Pratt hustled him to be forward and trying to kind of keep space and not get on a pace stool early on. But he actually settled nicely and then pulled away pretty well. I thought that he's a horse that has improved gradually with each start. He's by slumber, clearly able to handle going longer. Like I said, I think the blinkers helped him take a step forward.
All right. Yeah, no, I agree. I had him in the mix as well. I thought he was dangerous, too. It's a fun race, the Notebook. And people know, you know, we're going to try to run some races on the turf. We were supposed to be done on Sunday, but we're going to try to run some of the outer only 1 or 2 a day. Now, the early forecast will be good for next Thursday. It's a little dicey after that. We're not going to be able to take any rain, but we are going to try to run some turf races next week. They will be on the outer. That's the first 5. The late pick 4, excuse me, after a quick break.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Oh, we're back. Keisha and I, Andy, Keisha, you can probably figure out which is which. I like the 11 in this race. The 11 decided to scratch.
Yeah.
So
I had such a tough time with this race.
I just want Kid Rich in here. I think Kid Rich is the kind of horse that's probably better as a dirt horse, getting the right surface. I know there's some turf pedigree, but there's kind of more dirt pedigree in there, and it just looks like a classic horse. Linda takes it over from her brother second time out. The run better. The horse was wide. The rail was good, and I think Kid Rich is going to be tough to beat in this race. Yeah. You have gone a slightly different direction to Hurricane Kaz.
Yep, just on a drop in class. I thought Kid Rich made a lot of sense as well. Hurricane Kaz did stumble out of the gate last time out. Had some trouble at the start, 2 back as well in his debut. So I think that's been a little bit of the key for him. But I actually thought he ran sneaky okay first time out. So I thought
I thought his first race was a lot better than the second race.
Agree.
That bothered me.
I agree.
I thought he'd run better second time.
Yeah.
You know,
I just didn't trust anybody.
Everybody seems to like the toy cannon, and we both have the horse second.
Yeah.
I don't
know about like, but I thought he had license to
every
improve.
DRF handicapper picked this horse on top, and obviously Aragona and Beer are two people's opinions I respect immensely.
Yeah.
But I'm maybe David. I'm not sure, David. I think David picked this horse. I'm not sure. I mean, I know it was a better field. I know the horse was a bit wide, broke a little slow, but just didn't make that much of a. I mean, this horse didn't. What I will say is, he did a decent job at Raisley of catching up the field around the turn.
Right.
And then he just completely stopped.
He was kind of in no man's land.
Yeah, he was.
It felt like. Yeah, it felt like he had no cover. He was kind of, bewildered and clueless out there. And I thought that he certainly did look like a horse that could improve second time out and on a drop in class. And the horse that won, Bravaro, came back to win the New York Red Stake.
He did.
Yeah.
And what about Leamster for Tom Morley, a $200,000 purchase by Donegal that's running for $50 first time out?
That's a concern for
It
sure.
is.
That's always a concern. It's a son of Liam's Map. There's not a ton of female side pedigree to really sink your teeth into, but the Liam's Maps typically do sell well, and so it is a concern that he's debuting for $50,000. But of the first stars, I thought that he looked the most interesting.
It's funny that Tom has had real success for Donegal. He's had some good runners for him. Donegal Momentum, obviously. It does seem like, though, he gets the ones that other people may not want or something. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like he gets the best one. So I don't know where on the chain he was when they paid $200,000 for this horse, how it ended up with Tom, and Tom's probably just being realistic with him.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes as a trainer, you're involved with picking the horses out at the sale,
A lot
and
of times
sometimes they're allocated to you, and you get what you get. Yeah.
Right. All right. Race number 7. Race number 7. We'll start out by taking a look at Brave Buck and Dad's Good Runner. We'll show you the start with Brave Buck. I don't know. Well, we
will not show you the start.
The start. That wasn't. You didn't want to show that?
No.
Oh, you do. There we go. Let's show that. Thank you. Sorry to wake you up. I don't know what happened. I mean, because watching the head on.
Yeah. Did kind of bump a little bit, but not.
I mean,
it wasn't really anything.
So far out of it for a horse that can be forward, and then he came running. But as we pick it up again, he came running in a race that featured a supersonic pace, and it totally collapsed. I don't know how much I really want this horse. The race didn't go from Akron to Saratoga, that I can promise you.
Yes, I agree with that. I felt that he was a logical horse in here, that one you kind of had to pay attention to. But the fact of the matter is that he was avoided claim back in July. He was a horse that had been a late scratch earlier on in his career. He's got maybe some questions and some issues overall, so he's coming back at the same level. I thought he was just kind of flat last time.
I think he's kind of the horse to beat, but like you, I put him second because I just don't really trust him in here. We'll take a look at the horse Tarpaulin. Now you can go to Saratoga, Eddie. And he runs back to that race, obviously he's going to win. But even if he doesn't, and he runs his other figures in the mid to high 60s to 70, he's a major contender here. I just don't trust this horse either, to be honest. And another ex-Linda, ex-Brittany Russell.
Yeah.
I just don't trust this guy.
No, I don't trust him either. I didn't trust him the day that he won, where he was taking so much money and He won by the length of the stretch pretty much that day, and he's never run a figure close to that. But I do think he's been running over his head in his last couple of starts, and this is the logical place.
I could not possibly agree more with you. I agree. I think they are the 2 horses to beat. I tried to make other horses. You've got heavyweight champs third. I know he gets Ricardo, but I got to tell you.
He went off as the favorite last time, which I still think is the most amazing piece of it.
I actually thought I either picked him first or second last time. He was awful.
Yeah, he was.
And I'm just beginning to wonder if he can run at all anymore. He just seems to have lost it. And the other thing about him is he's kind of a need-to-lead type horse, and he ain't getting it in this race, I don't think, with the 7 and 8 in this race. I can't imagine that Ruben Silveira is not going to be aggressive with the 8, so I didn't love him. Funny Uncle. I don't love Funny Uncle in this race, but I wanted an alternative, and I couldn't take the 2. I couldn't take the 4. I couldn't take the 6. I couldn't take the 7. I thought about the 8 and 9. Both horses I thought were a little interesting, but I'm kind of worn out with them. But as far as Funny Uncle, I actually thought he ran okay last time with a wide trip chasing, making a big middle move into a fast part of the race. He's cutting back a little bit, which I actually like. He is a horse that's consistently run numbers that are as fast as the horses that are going to be much shorter prices. I think Lane is going to have to, not be intimidated by being inside. He's got to get position. He doesn't have a lot of speed, but he's got to make sure he maintains some position there. If he's going to keep riding here and stuff, he's got to make sure he maintains position in races. And I just thought Funny Uncle was going to be a good enough price to be the alternative for me.
All right.
We'll see what happens in race number 7. Race number 8, a bit of a mess. You and I have both taken the same. You can switch, Eddie. Eddie, you okay today?
Eddie's having a rough day.
Eddie, you all right? Anything going on? You doing a crossword puzzle or something? Okay. Having a couple drinks in there. We both picked Rabaha. Why don't you talk about him?
I'm hoping he just wires the field. That is the biggest thing. Also, he's a horse that typically can get pretty revved up prior to his races, so he has been gelded, which I think is a positive. Hoping Javier Castellano, who's given some very good rides the last couple of days,
Javier's been riding very, very well at this meet.
He has, and great ride on She's Country to get the win yesterday. But yeah, I just thought he was the speed.
Yeah, I have the same notion. He's a different horse. 3 times been in the front end, 2 of them have been wins.
Right.
Last time obviously wasn't a good race, but that was a race that completely and totally imploded as well.
That was a salty field.
So I'm just going to try to put him on the front end too. I don't think we'll get 10 to 1. I'd be happy with 6 to 1, 5 to 1. Because you go through here. I do think the horse you have 4th and I have 2nd, and you obviously like him less than me, Mr. Flowers. We'll take a look at one of his races at Laurel. His last race, he finished 3rd. I think he's been running well. And it's not like, it's not some sort of Jamie Ness, big improvement since the claim. He was always okay.
He was a decent horse and ran good numbers when he was with Horacio as well. He has been running and claiming races out of town, and that was a little bit of what turned me off for him. But then I looked back again this morning, and the horse that beat him, Laszlo, was the horse that Kerry Bryan claimed, I believe, for Kirk Wyckoff, and they actually ran in a stake and actually finished
that Kirk
4th.
Wyckoff guy.
But that horse finished 4th in a stake here last weekend.
Ran 4th in she claimed that horse. She ran 4th in the Hill Prince.
Yes.
I wish he ran 2nd.
I know, and I was like, wait a minute. So actually, better horses than it might look on paper.
That was a very sharp claim.
It
by
was
Kirk
a very sharp claim.
Kerry, that was a very
sharp.
It's funny. I actually meant to text Kurt and ask him about what he was thinking about claiming that. That was a great claim for 40,000. I agree. I think this horse is just very, very logical in here. I want to talk about American Grant, who I have 4th and you have 2nd in here. And I don't know how to judge this because Ricardo is a gutsy rider.
Yeah.
This horse, he goes inside. You're going to see him try to make the run on the inside of the yellow cap with the red. I understand it's very tricky. In there. Trying to shoot the gap. I didn't see this horse having a lot of trouble. I watched the head-on. Maybe I couldn't see it. I just think the horse didn't want to go through.
I think he didn't either. He's this big kind of rough, awkwardly put together type of horse. And I wonder if it's almost like he didn't think he was going to fit through.
And I think Ricardo's probably in that situation going to make a decision to keep him outside. You know, I'm not saying he's not going to look to save ground, but you're not going to want to make the move up the inside because I don't think it was.
I don't think he was.
I don't think it was Ricardo. I don't think it was Room. I think the horse just
didn't
see. It's like he got intimidated all of a sudden. He just stopped running. You know, that kind of happened yesterday in the race we were talking about where Manny won with the 12 horse. Ricardo was riding the first-time starter for Horacio. He had a ton of horse. He moved up inside of horses. He tried to go inside. It kind of got shut up for a second, and the horse just stopped running.
Right.
And I think sometimes, especially a first-time starter like that, they just get a little intimidated. I thought Final Denial was a little bit interesting in here. A horse that ran okay up in Saratoga. And then last time out, that was a race where the pace collapsed in there, and he was close to the pace. I thought he was a little interesting at a price in here.
Yeah, I mean, he's a funny horse because he's built like a sprinter, but he's been able to effectively stretch out, and he actually ran very well on the turf back in July, and then even going a mile in the dirt too back, and he obviously can handle the dirt too. He's a funny little horse about when he's actually going to show up.
You've got Just for Luck third in here, and it's Flavien, so he'll probably win. But
I know.
The race that makes me not want him is the July 17th race that Final Denial ran third in. What was his excuse in there? That was a race that was gift wrapped for him. That race imploded.
It was.
And he still couldn't get up. And that's the race I can't get past for that horse.
I know.
Not that he's impossible.
No, he's not. He is a horse. He has no speed. But he always comes kind of clunking along to pick up a piece.
Yeah, but it's never a big piece.
No, I know.
What about going back to the horse that you liked last time, Reynolds Channel? I mean, something obviously went wrong last time.
Well, so he draws in. He comes back in just seven days. I liked him stretching out, and I still am not opposed to it. There was an incident in that race where a horse went down, and
riders got hurt.
Two riders got hurt as a result.
Joel
and I
Jose
think
Gomez.
he pulled himself up.
Yeah.
And so when things like that happen, it can oftentimes kind of cause another horse. They almost panic, and I mean sometimes if it's severe, they can almost even flip their own palate.
Well, we're talking about the American Grant, not like you're running inside. They're living, breathing creatures.
They will pull themselves out of the race, and I think that's what happened with Reynolds Channel because he looked okay coming back.
I'm sure he's fine, or Michelle wouldn't run him back.
Right,
Michelle's not a trainer to do this.
Exactly.
She obviously wants to try to go long with this horse, and this opportunity came around.
Yeah.
She gets to run him. It is not like her to come back on
No,
short
it's
rest.
not.
So
I know.
I mean, I think for you and I know David liked this horse last time. I think if you like, and I didn't like him last time. Now I don't think I was
just
proven right by how he ran.
I know that turf season is coming to an end, but the quick turnaround after what clearly was something that upset him, for lack of a better term, I thought was.
Well, I think it's an interesting point because a lot of times horses, the issues are mental.
Right.
You know, I think I was telling that story about the Chad Brown horse. He was telling me about that she injured herself early in her career. She came back the next year, she's perfectly sound, but he said to me, she's just scared. She doesn't really want to run. And
you
sometimes
never know
it just
how
happens.
it's going to shake them.
Yeah, I mean, how these things affect them. Listen, I think you see it with people. You see it with athletes. They get an injury and they come back and they're just a little bit tentative. So it's not surprising that was with horses. Race number 9. I will show 21 Red and Dingy Bar. I have no argument with 21 Red. This is absolutely the horse to beat. I don't think you're getting 5-2 on him either.
No, I agree. This is the debut race for both of them. Yeah, 21 Red, definitely. He's turf sprinter. He was favored first time out. I think George Weaver was just on that turf sprint 2-year-old roll in Saratoga first time out. Now, last time out, he seemed like he was getting out a little bit to me, too.
I agree. Broke slowly.
Yes, and so I wasn't sure what was going on there. Now, it was right into a stake in his second start, and he took money in the face of Spirit of New York. But I am a little bit curious to see what they do with him in here today.
It's interesting. Did Brad take off him? He took that weird step. It isn't the chart, and I agree with him. He took that awkward stride.
Yeah.
Or did he want to ride the horse for Brad? Maybe he wants to ride for Brad.
Oh, Flavien. Yeah. I don't know, and you never know the situation. But, yeah, it seemed like he was getting out. Like he was not traveling smoothly because he was going sideways.
That was my lone concern with him.
Me too.
I was a little worried about that race for him. I think the horse inside of him, Cerro Rico, is a little bit dangerous. The Alpine for Tom.
Yeah.
This horse got bet off the board. They're going to try turf with him, and usually where there's smoke, there's fire, and he's going to be a big price.
Yeah.
I would use him.
Yes, this horse was really quick first time out. He went 10 flat at the OBS March sale, which sometimes horses that handle those synthetic tracks, but also the Dam is the sister to Bully Good, who won the Houston Turf Sprint Stakes. So there is actually a little bit of turf
I'll
pedigree.
make fun of Sam Houston. My man Nick Tamaro is
Yeah.
the voice of Sam Houston.
Fantastic. I wasn't making fun of it.
I know you weren't. I'm just
With the pedigree stat.
Nick Tamaro has more jobs than anybody in the history. I picked Music in Motion, speaking of the sales work, in 10 flat. This horse worked 10 flat. I like the workout. Claims Music's 15% with turf sprinters. This horse a half to 2 turf winners. 3 of them ran buyers in the 70s. They were okay. And I know Linda's not the greatest trainer with first-time starters, but she can win with a first-time starter, turf or dirt.
Yep.
Not too many in turf sprints, but she can, and I took a shot with this one. You've got this one in the mix a little, and you also have Money Talks for Brad Cox.
Yeah, Music in Motion. The ticket was signed by John Kimmel and Nick Salusto, and I always pay attention. They're very, very sharp at the sales as well. I thought that one was interesting. My Money Talks, Homebred, Son of Munnings. The dam was a good second dam, was a good turf horse. So there is some pedigree there. Homebred for Al Freed. Does have to work out a chart from the outside.
You know, it's funny about you mentioned John Kimmel. Back in the day, you go back 30 years more, I don't know there was a better guy at picking out inexpensive two-year-olds.
Yeah.
He was real. People, if you have to go back more, you know, back in the day when he had more horses, before he started spending a lot of money for different clients, like Katinka comes to mind, I think he made $750,000 for, but he would consistently get horses for the $40,000 to $50,000 range. They would win their debuts and he'd sell them.
Very
and
smart.
He's very, very good. Well, John Kimmel is the original trainer of Thunder Gulch.
Yeah.
And I think he had him for 2 or 3 starts, and first start off the private purchase by the connections and given to Wayne was the Remsen, which was the race before Cigar won the Naira Mile.
Wow.
Yeah, first time Wayne.
That's
I think he
pretty
paid
cool. I didn't know
$12, and then Cigar won the Naira Mile in his next start, in the next race. All right, that was fun.
It was.
We'll carry it on upstairs. We'll be upstairs soon, very, very soon. Too soon, as a matter of fact. Head over to Naira Bets and use the promo code BONUS200. We'll match them at $200 of your initial deposit. Play through Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. And if you're playing through Naira Bets, you can play the contest. The only way you can play the contest is through Naira Bets. Saturday contest, $300 buy-in. You have until post time to sign up. Get more information at nairabets.com/contest. $5,000 hit and split in the late pick 5. Opt in for that over at Naira Bets. 10% exacta bonus. You're playing Churchill Downs. Opt in for this as well. And as mentioned, 12 to 2:30 on FS2, covering the first 5 races. Acacia, Greg, and myself will be on the desk. Maggie will be braving the elements of the paddock. It's not that bad.
No, it's not terrible
A little
today.
colder for her, though.
Yeah.
You've got the easier job. Of course, then again, you have to sit with me. So then again, it's kind of a split. All right, we're done. Thanks for watching. Chris Griffin's up next. Scratches, changes, and jockey changes as well.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Aqueduct. At this time, we ask that you please rise, remove your hats as we honor America with the playing of the national anthem.